What's up, guys? I'm LQ. This is the LQ Review. Thank you so much for joining me right here at my YouTube channel. This is where I talk about all the geeky, nerdy stuff that I love to talk about: movies, video games, comic books, and TV shows. And right now, I'd like to give you guys my thoughts on the new shark movie, Great White. And, in the internet universe, this movie kind of got a lot of hate. A lot of fans of shark movies didn't really care for this. Um, I disagree. I enjoyed this movie. It wasn't great. Like, no, obviously nowhere near the phenomenal amazingness that the Jaws movie is, the first one. And I wouldn't even put it anywhere near Jaws 2. I wouldn't put it anywhere near The Reef. I probably wouldn't even say it's as good as The Shallows. But I'd put it right there in the deep blue sea, 47 meters down, right there in that sphere, you know? Watchable, entertaining shark movies. That's where I'd put this. So this involves a couple taking a seaplane and some tourists out to a island called Hell's Reef. When they land there, they find a body. Clearly, it had been a shark attack victim. And then they find the guy's phone. They look through the phone and they find out that his girlfriend was with him and they were on a yacht. So they decide to fly out, look for the yacht, and see if she's still alive. When they find the lot, they land the seaplane. Great white sharks attack and sink the seaplane, which is a little ridiculous, but it's a shark movie. They attack and sink the seaplane, and then everybody ends up on a life raft, fighting for their lives against multiple great white sharks. So let's talk about the good first. The good. Um, the sharks were well rendered in this. So often we see these CGI shark movies where the sharks look like cartoons. The sharks were well rendered in this. This is some of the better shark CGI that I've seen. The tension built throughout the film, and as with a lot of shark movies, you can never really know who's going to live and who's going to die, but it became very apparent who that was going to be throughout the course of the film, and that's going to be one of the weaknesses. But what I will say is that initially some of the deaths were a little shocking until I figure out what was going on. Um, like I said, the tension in this movie was well done. The action sequences were well done. The movie was well shot. It was a beautiful movie to look at. And like I said, the CGI is some of the better shark CGI that I've seen. Katrina Bowden, she's really the only recognizable actress in this movie for U.S. audiences, or at least she was for me. And she's never been somebody that's really stood out as a great actress. But she brought it in this movie. She definitely took the role very seriously, and she did a better than passable job. She was good in this. All right, let's talk about some of the bad. It became very apparent throughout the film, as the film progressed, that this was a um, female empowerment movie. Now that's not bad in of itself. I have a daughter. I have a wife. I want my daughter to see females empowered in film. I love Wonder Woman, and I love that she loves Wonder Woman, the first Wonder Woman movie. And that's because you have a strong female, but in the movie they also don't have to make the men look like jerks or look like buffoons. She's in Wonder Woman, she's fighting beside the men. They're fighting together as equals. They're solving problems together as equals. I think it does a disservice to any kind of feminist movement when a movie has to dumb down men in order to make their woman look empowered. I think that the woman looks a lot more empowered when it's the men are also competent, and she's still, when the men are also competent, yet the woman is still the empowered person that they want her to be. My biggest example of this is the Ghostbuster reboot. That was one of my biggest issues with that movie, was that every single dude in that movie was either incompetent or a jerk. So they had to do that in order to elevate the women in the movie. And I see this in Great White. You know, all the guys, with one exception, they were jerks, or they made bad decisions, or they just were incompetent. And even the guy who was kind of looked at as the equal to the females, even he made a lot of stupid decisions throughout the course of the movie. This is one of those female empowerment movies where the men were dumbed down in order to elevate the women. And I just don't think that does them any service. I think it's pandering, and I don't think it is effective. So unfortunately, it became very obvious throughout the course of the movie that that's what they were doing. And it really kind of just took me out of the movie, because all of a sudden, once I realized that's what they were doing, all of a sudden I could have, her, she's going to live. They're both going to live. Everybody else is going to die. The dudes are definitely going to die. The dudes were dead before they landed. Those two girls right there, they're going to live. So it took, even though the movie effectively set the stage, it set the premise, it created an environment for an entertaining story to take place, as the movie progressed, the story became less and less entertaining and more cringy, because it was obvious what they were doing. And it was obvious who was going to live. It was obvious who was going to die. So, Great White, was it a good movie? For the most part, I enjoyed it. I did. Like I said, I put it right there with Deep Blue Sea, put it right there with 47 Meters Down. It was a shark monster movie. The sharks don't behave in this movie like real sharks do. But as a shark monster movie, I found it entertaining enough. And I give this movie a C+. It was okay. It was okay. It was a little cringy when I realized what was going on, but they still did an effective job of setting the stage and a good enough job of executing what they were going for. So Great White for me is a C+. Nowhere near the best shark movies, but there's a lot of worse ones out there. So it's kind of just this middling shark movie. So what did you guys think of Great White? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your take on it. While you're down there commenting, make sure you subscribe to my channel. I put out a lot of content. Want to make sure that you're up to date with everything that I'm doing. And as always, thank you so much for joining me right here at the Okie Review.